Hello and welcome to Jerez for the final race of this weekend's Spanish Formula 4 Championship, the penultimate round of the championship, and we have a champion, and it is poleman Delano Van Toff with what is his 12th pole position of the season. Van Toff won both race 2 and races 1 this weekend, and it was more than enough to take him ahead of Sebastian Ogier, who is running second in the championship, a relatively comfortable second in the championship. But it was a race of incident this morning. We had 2 safety car periods and eventually a red flag following accidents initially between Filip Jenik, Noma Bramski and Maxim Arkanchelski, and then another accident between Espirito Santo and Guillermo Oliveira, which eventually did bring out the red flag with a few moments left. We may still have some incidents yet to go in this event. As you can see from the track, it is relatively damp. We had a lot of rain earlier on. The previous race, it was the Mini Coopers in their Cup race, was red flagged with several minutes to go. As we look at poleman Van Toff now, took another 2 points for that this morning, a 1:42.276. We're not going to see anywhere near the kind of times we saw this morning. As I said, it was raining earlier on. It has stopped now. So what we have is effectively a kind of wet-ish but damp track, but it's not quite drying as such. It's kind of more of a stable scenario. We will probably see it dry out significantly as this race goes on. Pepe Marti, second for this race. As we go to the third on the grid, it is Enric Bordas. And this was something of almost a topsy-turvy grid to a degree, with an awful lot of track times deleted for track limits. 52 laps were actually deleted in total. It's actually quicker to tell you about the drivers who didn't have times deleted than it is anything else. As we see Guillermo Oliveira, he starts fourth, despite his accident, by the way, with Espirito Santo this morning. He was classified 7th after the rollback. 5th on the grid is the guy he collided with, Espirito Santo. It's good qualifying for him. He'll be hoping for a positive result to make up for this morning's disappointment. Of course, yesterday he took a point for finishing 10th place in race 1. 6th on the grid is the man who was second in the championship. It is Sebastian Ogier. Maybe a little tinge of disappointment. It's been not the most thrilling of weekends for him. He's hung around really the top 5, top 6, but never truly excelled to the point where he looked like he was going to threaten the lead. As we look to 7th place starting man Daniel Mazzi in the Formula de Campaños machine. And 8th on the grid is George Keltrup, by far his best qualifying position, not just for this weekend, but for quite a while. Keltrup actually has won a race so far this season. He won the race 2 at Spa, which is running at the tail end of that weekend. Now, as I mentioned, it is wet-ish, damp-ish, and we may see it dry out, but at the same time, this is not a long race. It's 25 minutes plus 1 lap, plus it's not exactly hot. We don't have blazing sunshine coming out anytime soon, so if this track does dry, it may be something of a slow burner. We're not going to see it clear up terribly quickly, but we will and we should see some significant drier lines coming as the race goes on. And it's all going to be about, I think, making those wet tyres last. I don't think there's going to be anywhere near enough time at any point in this race to actually step into the pits, put on dry tyres, and then hope for the best. Although there's a few people in the midfield and maybe lower down who might chance their arm and try it. Worth a go if you have nothing to lose. But Van Toff may have won the championship. Those around him certainly are still very much in the battle. Ogier, as I said, has a relatively comfortable lead ahead of third place man Pepe Marti in the points. The gap between the two of them in second and third is 42 points. I state now, after this morning's race, there is 98 points available. So Ogier really only needs a couple of solid results and he will solidify that second in the championship. Marti, meanwhile, is 14 points ahead of Enric Bordas. Bordas jumped Daniel Mazzi in the standings this morning. Mazzi then falling down to 5th. Mazzi has not had the best of weekends. He's had 2 8th positions. Following up from, he had a podium position last time out in Valencia, but also had 2 retirements. Bordas, he's had 2 wins so far this season, and he got a podium yesterday in race 1. But beyond that, he's had an awful lot of top 5s, top 6 finishings, but he's beyond those 2 wins and the podium. He's not showing himself to be a stellar challenger for wins throughout. And he'll be hoping to change that for this race, of course, starting, as I said, 3rd on the grid. As I mentioned, it's probably easier to mention the drivers who haven't had times deleted, one of whom is Bordas. The other driver not to have times deleted is Vanthof, the poleman. Maxim Arkanchelski also didn't have times deleted. He starts 9th. And the other driver not to have times deleted is Vladislav Ryabov, which is a surprise. Ryabov has been stellar up until now. Had 2 second place finishes so far this weekend. Also qualified on 2nd place for both of races 1 and 2. So a surprise that he couldn't really convert it for race 3. He starts 14th. The pace very much seemed quicker for qualifying 2 this morning. Unfortunately, it looks as if Ryabov's pace did not go down with it. So he's starting on the 7th row of the grid. Ryabov, of course, has jumped up to 6th in the standings with his 2 good results so far this weekend. He is joint on points with Rick Cohn, but he's 6th by virtue of having 3 second-place finishes. Top 5 in the championship looks pretty much beyond him. The gap is 43 points. As we see the 1-minute warning just being put away. This will get going soon as the mechanics clear the grid to get this race started. And for the final race of this weekend, the penultimate round of the 2021 Spanish Formula 4 Championship. The finale coming in 6 weeks' time at the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. And we are ready to go. And good to see that, we're getting this race going under a standing start. It's not going to be a safety car start by any stretch of the imagination, which is good. This is a learning category. Drivers do need to learn about these conditions. They need to learn how to race in these conditions. So it's positive that we're getting a standing start. Now, the field as we get going. Alexander Partashev, he starts on the back of the grid. He had 6 laps deleted in qualifying. So really put to the back as punishment, really. Lucas Malik, the driver who is in his first ever Formula 4 race weekend, he had 5 laps deleted, so he starts from the back as well. So 22nd on the grid, we got Noah Dengball in MP Motorsport with a 1 minute 44.541. Just ahead of him is Mira Pangasov, who starts 21st. Row 10 on the grid. This is an all-female 10th row. It's Lola Lovenfoss 19th, ahead of Emily de Hughes in 20th. Brandon Lee Oxley starts 18th on the grid in his Drive X entry with 1 minute 43.907, just behind Alejandro Garcia. 16th on the grid is Noam Abramczyk in his Drive X entry. He's just behind the Theo Martin car driven by Jorge Campos. Vladislav Ryabov, as we mentioned, starts 14th, a disappointing qualifying for the GRS entry. Filip Jenik is 13th on the grid. He didn't finish this morning. He'll be hoping to get some points today. Gil Molina starts 12th in the MP Motorsport car, just behind his teammates Rick Cohn 11th and Zuliman Sanfari 10th. Maxim Arkanchelski starts 9th for DriveX. Again, a retirement this morning. He wants points to bolster his final standings. George Kelstrup is 8th on the grid with a 1 minute 43.039 for MP Motorsport. While Daniel Matzia starts 7th. He'll be hoping to get some points to retake Bordas in the standings for 4th place today. He starts 7th. 6th is Sebastian Ogart, 2nd in the championship. He just really wants to get some points this weekend and solidify that runner-up spot, I suppose. Manuel Espirito Santo, he is 5th on the grid for MP Motorsport, while Guillermo Oliveira starts 4th. They clashed this morning. They're hoping to not do that again today. Enric Bordas, 3rd on the grid. Wants a splash, wants to get another podium. You want to go for a win if you can. While the front row of the grid, the Campos Motorsport entry, 1 minute 42.564, Pepe Marti, and pole position, his 12th of the season, Delino Vanthof. The MP Motorsport, a 1 minute 42.277 as the cars come through to complete the formation lap and pull onto the grid for race 3 at Jerez, race 18 of 21 this season. See Bordas pulling into his slot. Mattia, I should have said that is Mattia, Daniel Mattia, pulling into his slot in 7th position. Sebastian Ogier just alongside. Getting ready now to begin the final race of this weekend. And you Van't on pole there in the red and black machine, and we are go, and it is a slow start by Van't. Bordas coming through the middle, but will he have enough drive to get the lead? He is on the outside line, he is slightly ahead. But Van't has the inside line. It is enough of an inside line to solidify that lead, or is it? He gets a wobble coming out of turn 1. They're still side by side coming into 2, but Van't does have the inside. Pepe Marti is in 2nd place. Guillermo Oliveira is 4th. Ogier in 5th place. Espirito Santo in 6th. But it is tentative stuff. In a very, very, very damp circuit here. The drivers edging their way around, trying not to make a mistake, and don't get on the grass, don't not get on the gravel. You will be absolutely flung off the circuit. It is not wide to go out there. As I see Ryabov further down the field trying to make up positions. Bordas is chasing Van't through turn 5, trying to get a run on the champion to take the lead, but it's not close enough just yet. Marti keeping a watching brief there in 3rd position. They're 2 very, very, very different lines for Van't and Bordas. Bordas is really pressing Van't for the lead. He has not won since Navarra earlier on this season. He wants to take another win. He's had a long break between podiums so far this season. From race 2 to Navarra to race 1 this weekend, he had not scored a podium. And I think he liked the taste of that very, very much. Bordas pressing Van't hard. Van't doesn't need to fight Bordas off. He is the champion. He has accumulated that honour. But you get a sense that Van't just wants to take it because he is the champion. He wants to absolutely stamp his dominance on this championship. Van't goes wide through the Senna S. Doesn't quite give enough space for Bordas to go through as they come through Ferrari now. And into Ducados, the hairpin, the left-hand hairpin, which will take him back onto the start-finish straight. Van't leads. Bordas 2nd. You see Marti there in 3rd place. He's got Oliveira just behind. Ogier 5th. Cohn 6th. Espirito Santo 7th. Sanfari 8th. Kelstrup 9th. And Gil Molina currently in 10th position. Daniel Mattia has had an issue. And he's dropped right down the order to 18th place. And Bordas really going wide, using as much of the circuit as he dares, as does Sebastian Ogier. Yes, Brito Santos lost a position. He's fallen just behind Sanfari. That's over 7th and 8th places. But at the front, it is still Van't over Bordas. Bordas pressed Van't hard last time around. And the gap is 0.3 of a second. As you see Ogier under pressure from Rick Cohn. Rick Cohn technically finished 3rd. He crossed line in 3rd place for race 1 earlier on this weekend, but received a time penalty, which actually eventually dropped him down to 6th. Disappointing for him, considering he's in a battle for 6th and 7th in the championship with Vladislav Ryabov. Van't beginning to, he's just pulled away slightly, but he still gets a wobble on. You do not want to give too much of your tyres to those painted lines and the curbs. They are damp, they will flick you around. And Van't has gone wide. Van't has gone completely off the circuit through the gravel. He is now going through the escape road, and this will cost him several positions. Bordas now leads the race. Marti has gone through into 2nd place, and I do believe Oliveira has got through into there. No, not quite. Van't has rejoined the circuit just ahead of Oliveira, but he is right behind Pepe Marti in 2nd place. Ogier has lost a position too to Rick Cohn for 5th and 6th position, but a mistake there by Van't. Went too deep into the chicane, have no choice but to bail out and go through the runoff area through the gravel. Oliveira there too. He is still seeing an opportunity to take 3rd place from Van't. Marti now in defensive mode as Vanthof right behind. You can see Vanthof clearly left the brake in a little bit too late, was caught out slightly, and was quite lucky that he turned away from the gravel trap as early as he did, because that could have been a much bigger loss. And we have someone off the circuit, and that is in the center chicane as well. And I believe that was Miron Pingasov in the MP Motorsport entry. He was running towards the rear of the field. And his first wet car race ends early. Safety car has been called out because the car is very much beached in the runoff area to the chicane. It is a relatively small runoff area because it is an alteration between two forms of track. And really, you cannot continue racing if the car is beached that close to the actual circuit. And as you see, the car very much I think he's probably gone off, tried to really put his foot down, but all he's done is buried his rear wheels into the gravel. Now, Vanthof did get ahead of Marty, so he is second place. Oliveira currently fourth, Rick Cohn fifth. Zanfari sixth. He made a move past Espirito Santo. Good start by Zanfari, considering he was 10th on the grid. Ogard, by the way, has lost a couple of more positions, and I think he went wide. I was shot of screen earlier on. It's dropped him a couple of positions. Gilles Molina up to 9th. George Kelstrup is currently 10th. Ryabov has taken a few positions. He is up to 11th place. And you see drivers already under the safety car conditions making their way onto the damper parts of the circuit in order to cool their tyres down. We may really see drivers just struggling to get by in these final few laps of the race if it continues to dry as much as it is. But at the same time, you look under the bridge on the start-finish straight, you do have puddles there as well, so you do have to be careful. And that is Brandon Lee Oxley in the pits. And as I mentioned earlier on, you may see some drivers further down the order who will take a gamble, put on slick tyres. Brandon Lee Oxley is going to be one of them. With this race on the safety car, why not? He will rejoin the field. It's like, it is slow. Actually, no, he's not. He's putting wet tyres back on. Noah Bramchick also in the pit lane. Bonas leads. He's taken 2 wins so far this season, as I mentioned, at Navarra. That was back in May. He's had something of a dry spell since then. And for just a brief period, he did look like a possible championship contender, but as we enter the mid part of the season, he scored some 10th place positions, some 4th and 6th and a 13th, and it really dropped him far behind Vanthof, who during that period was taking wins and podiums. But abandoned. And it has to be said, Vanthof has been super consistent this year. He's only had 1 race of the 17 completed so far where he's not finished in the top 4. And Marty taking a wide line through the corners. Again, he's trying to cool the tyres down. You don't want your wet tyres to overheat in these conditions, and still waiting for Pingasov's car to be recovered. And they're taking a while. As we see Brandon Lee Oxley rejoin. Bramchick has also rejoined. So I think clearly at this stage it's too damp, and I think the main thing is also too cold for dry tyres. You may take a risk on the potential of the track drying, but there's not enough warmth in the air in order to actually make it work. There's not enough time left in this race, 16 minutes plus 1 lap. But you can just see how much the drivers are looking, searching for any damp patch whatsoever to bring the temperature and the tyres down. And even though it may be too cool for dry tyres to be run usefully, I do believe the last few laps of this race, we may see a lot of drivers struggling for grip on old wet tyres. We shall see. And Oliveira been weaving quite a bit. There's George Kelstrup, the 10th place man, the MP Motorsport entry. Scored a couple of points. Well, he scored 3 points so far this weekend. He's got a 9th in race 1, a 10th in race 2. Currently running 10th. He's 9th in the standings, only 2 points behind Arkachelski. And he'd be quite happy, I think, with a couple of points from this race. Hopefully we should be getting this race going again soon. It does look like the marshals were attaching the tow rope to Pingasov's stranded car to just pull him out of the runoff area, as opposed to getting a JCB to winch him out. And we shall see as they come to the chicane. And they're still there. Hello? Yeah. And we're still waiting for Espirito Santo, or not, sorry, Espirito Santo, Pingasov to be withdrawn from the circuit, so that this race can get back underway. And so it brings us to the inevitable question this late in the race. A lot of drivers are going to be looking to maybe moving up. I can only imagine we'll see Vanthof certainly move up next season, but you also have the likes of Enric Bornas, Sebastian Ogard, a couple of others who are in their second year of Formula 4 and probably looking to see what next. It's looking to maybe move beyond F4 at this point in their career. Matzi, I think, has been around for some time as well. So, and with Ogard finishing second in the championship, I think it'll be probably right for him to move, to start looking around anyway. Pepe Marti, it'll be interesting to see what his next move is. But this has been a fantastic championship so far this season, and we're all hoping for more of the same in 2022. But we still have some races to go yet. We're coming into the autumn months and winter soon. It's not completely unusual to see the weather change in such a manner. Barcelona could be interesting. It'll be very, very cool racing in Barcelona in mid-November. Certainly see the temperature drop quite significantly, and that can actually be quite a challenge for drivers on dry tires, because with the temperature dropping, you don't get as much heat into tires, you don't get as much friction through the tires, and that can make finding the right amount of grip, even on a dry surface, quite tricky. And well, the car's been moved somewhat. Still sitting on the exit of the styrofoam slalom at the Senna chicane. If you're wondering, that's actually two different layouts. The layout the drivers are currently racing on at the moment is the FIA layout. The full corner where you see the bollards is actually the MotoGP layout, as they take that right-hander at full pelt. still under safety car conditions here in Jerez. Just waiting now for Pingasov's car to be cleared so we can get going for a final 8 to 10 minute dash. Should it stay like this, that's a big if, this will actually be a significant result for Bordas. And may take him close. Actually, I wonder. It would take him ahead of Pepe Marti in the standings if we were to finish like this. Bordas also has the fastest lap so far, although that doesn't really count for much because we've only had a couple of racing laps. Everything else so far has been on the safety car. We are on lap 7. And waiting now for this race to get going. And the safety car is coming in this lap. It took quite a while for Miron Pingasov's car to be removed from the gravel trap at the center chicane, but it has now been moved and this race is ready to get underway once again. And Bordas slows right down, lets the safety car pull away into the pits, brings the pace right down as they come through the exit of the center chicane now towards the right-hander of Ferrari, and he gets the throttle down, he begins to accelerate. Vantoff is right there with him, Marti is third, Oliveira going to be getting away from fourth place as they come through the final corner, the hairpin at Ducados, and then onto the start-finish straight. And we are green again at Jerez. Race 18 of 21 in this Spanish Formula 4 Championship. Bordas leads from Vantoff ahead of Marti. Oliveira is in fourth place, but he's got Rick Cohn right there on his tail. Zanfari is also fifth. And you see Oliveira defending hard from Rick Cohn. Kelstrup going wide, almost onto the gravel. Vantoff is looking to make a charge and get past. We have Zanfari pressing Oliveira for 5th and 6th place and goes down the inside. A very good move as the MP Motorsport racer make a stick through turn 5, I think. Oliveira has the quicker line on the exit and he did actually keep the position. Bordas leads, Vantoff just behind in the red car, and we have someone off the circuit. One of the Tio Martin entries, and it is Jorge Campos. And Oliveira in the background there, getting his wheels on the curbs, losing the back end, but he's held the position. Bordas still leads from Vantoff. There's a bit of a gap to Pepe Marti in third place. Bordas taking a wider line through the back end corners. It allows Vantoff a window, but not enough for him to get through. Vantoff is looking for any opportunity to take the position. Oliveira has fallen down. He's running in 6th place at the moment. Zanfari ahead, Riccone in 4th place. Oliveira going wide again. He's absolutely struggling and he's losing more positions. He's taking the runoff area in the Senna S's. That's going to cost him several positions. As they come through the final corner now, Oliveira's dropped down to 9th place. That's how much he lost going through the chicane. Well, not the chicane, but the runoff area at the chicane as Bordas continues to lead. The gap is 0.2 of a second ahead of Vantoff. Vantoff, does he have a run? He looks down the inside. He's not going to be close enough this time to make it work. Marti is in 3rd place. Rick Cohn now 4th. Gilles Molina, by the way, has lost several positions. He was in the points. He's now fallen down to 13th. Vladislav Ryabov has promoted into 10th position. Bordas from Vantoff, from Marti, Rick Cohn, Zanfari 5th, Espirito Santo in 6th position ahead of Sebastian Ogard. Oliveira is 8th, Dengball is 9th, Ryabov is 10th. You see the mist on the circuit now as the driver is still exiting turn 5 down on the hill towards Dry Sack turn 6. Van't gets a run, but is it close enough? Bornas takes the middle of the road to defend against Van't. Van't not really making a move there, but he's very, very canny. He is waiting, he is pressing Bornas. He's hoping to push Bornas into a mistake to possibly get the race win, but he's also got to be wary that he doesn't scrub his own tyres too quickly. We're 5 minutes plus 1 lap left in this race. Will their wet tyres hang on for the final few minutes? I reckon probably about 7 minutes. And we have another spin, another incident. And I believe that was maybe Noah Dengball and Brandon Lee Oxley possibly. But they have continued, they have got going again. Bornas continues to lead, just, and I mean only just, ahead of Delano Van't. Van't has parked himself almost under Bornas's rear wing, but coming through the hairpin corner, he loses a little bit and it drops him just behind Bornas. Coming down the start-finish straight, is it enough to come into turn 1? The answer this time around is still no. Marty 3rd place, Rick Cohn 4th. He's under pressure from Zanfari. Espirito Santo in 6th position. But the biggest fight at the moment, Ryabov, by the way, has jumped into the pits. I wonder if he's had an incident somewhere along the lap. Van't is very close now. This is the closest he's certainly been for much of the race. As they come through 5, Van't with the inside line slides slightly. Bornas goes a little bit wide, but Van't has not been this close for the whole race. He takes the outside line. Bornas very much in the inside line. Ryabov in the pits to retire. We don't want to see this. We want to see the action coming into turn 6. And someone else on the track going slowly. And Van't has taken the lead. And we see Van't has taken the lead off screen, unfortunately. Enric Bornas down into 6th place. And he pressed Bornas, forced him into an error. And I wonder now if Bornas's tyres are probably beginning to fall off slightly. Marty still there in 3rd position. Cohn is 4th, Zanfari 5th, Espirito Santo 6th place. And Van't really now beginning to edge the gap to Bornas slightly as they come round the final turn. Bornas not under any pressure yet from Marty. There's not a huge amount of time to go. 2 minutes and 20 seconds plus 1 lap left in this race. The gap between the leading 2 7/10 of a second. Marty is another 1.5 behind. Rick Cohn in 4th place. And he actually just has Zanfari and Espirito Santo just behind. Van't has taken the fastest lap of this race. The 1 minute 58.029. And that will give him an additional point to all the points he's scored so far this weekend. And if he does nail that, I was about to say he would have a full complement of points. And I do not recall if... No, unfortunately he did not. Ryabov got the fastest lap in race 2, so he'd actually be 1 point short of a full complement of points this weekend. And it really just shows you how absolutely imperious Van't has been. We're not far from the end of this race. Van't, he looks smooth. He's may have been relatively kind to his tyres. Bornas there in 2nd place. Disappointed to maybe lost out the win, as we see Rick Cohn has gone very wide. And defending hard from Zanfari, and it may not be quite enough. And Rick Cohn looks like the back end he's really struggling. He's losing it quite a bit. Zanfari probably pressing him harder if it wasn't for the fact that he's under pressure from Espirito Santo in P6. This is for 4th, 5th and 6th position as they come through the centre chicane once again and into Ferrari. And they come through the final corner. Van't. We are starting the penultimate lap of this race. Bottas in 2nd place. Marti in 3rd. Cohn has got a little bit of a gap over Zanfari, but can Zanfari keep Espirito Santo at bay? The answer this time around is yes. But I wonder if Espirito Santo is going to try and get a run on Zanfari, maybe through turns 5 and 6. Zanfari coming to the inside of 3, defending very, very, very hard. And almost running his teammate quite close to the edge of the circuit. Ogard there in 7th place, ahead of Oliveri. I think Ogard's going to be incredibly disappointed with how this weekend has transpired. And it's raining again, by the way. It is now raining again at the circuit on his penultimate lap. Probably not enough to change the course of this race any more than we've seen so far, but it's another final test for these drivers. Van't has built a 1.6 second gap to Bottas. And Marti in 3rd place in the Campos entry. And then we have Cohn, then we have Zanfari, then we have Espirito Santo. And you can really see in the middle part of the circuit through 7, 8 and 9, Cohn's struggling far more than he is in other parts of the circuit. This is really where he's most vulnerable as they exit 10. And Zanfari he's not shaking Espirito Santo off, but at 7/10 of a second, the gap between the two is probably less critical than it was a lap ago. But Cohn definitely seems far more comfortable as they exit the chicane and come onto the final few corners and onto the start-finish straight. Van't crosses the line. This is going to be the final lap of the race. The gap is 1.9 seconds. Bottas has taken his 10th off of him, but it doesn't really matter. It's too late. Marti 3rd. Cohn 4th. Zanfari has broken the gap to Espirito Santo completely now, I think, as Van't sets another fastest lap of 1:57.2. And he's got Cohn, Zanfari, Espirito Santo. Van't not long left. He's not had any race weekends this season where he's won right across the board. He has been dominant, but it's always been one race weekend and maybe a couple of podiums, or 2 race wins and a couple of podiums. This will be the first where he has nailed all 3 wins right across the board. And we do see Ogard under pressure there, I think, from Oliveri. Or not Oliveri, it may have been Dengball. But Van't, only a few corners left. He and the MP Motorsport team have absolutely gelled this season and really gelled this weekend. As he comes through the centre chicane for the last time. And Van't now exiting the final corner to win race 3 of the 6th round of the Spanish Formula 4 Championship 2021. Bottas comes home 2nd. Marti is 3rd. Crossing the line, that is Zanfari, has taken Cohn on the final lap. Espirito Santo 6th. Ogard 7th. Noah Dengball is 8th. Oliveri drops down to 9th. Gil Molina is 10th for the final points-paying positions. George Kelstrup comes home 11th ahead of Arkanchelski. Filip Jenik is 13th. Partishev is 14th. Not bad, he started last. Garcia 15th. Brandon Lee Oxley is 16th. Ahead of 17th place Noam Abramczyk. 18th is Lucas Malek, completing his first ever race weekend in Formula 4. Just ahead of Daniel Matzia. And Noah Dengball, sorry, De Hughes, that should be. De Hughes coming home in 20th place. 4 retirements in this race. We saw Ryabov pulling in the pits. Lola Lovenfoss also retired. Jorge Campos was a retirement earlier on when Miran Pinkasov only completed a single lap. But absolutely dominant effort from Delano Van Toff. Really for much of this weekend. As I said, he would have been a complete total score had it not been for the fact that Ryabov got a fastest lap in race 2. But there is the classification, the provisional classification at the end of race 3. Van Toff wins from Bordas, Marti Zanfari 4th, very good result for him. Rick Combe 5th, Espirito Santo 6th, his best result for a while. Ogard 7th, disappointing weekend ahead of Dengball. 9th was Guillermo Oliveira. After starting 4th, he'll be unhappy with that. Gilles Milena comes home 10th. And then Kelstrup, Arkanchelski, Jenik, Partashev, Garcia, Brandon Lee Oxley, Abramchik, Malik, Masia, and De Hughes. Rounding out the finishers. And Ryabov, Lovenfoss, Campos, Pinkasov did not finish. It has been a very, very, very gloomy day. And you can see it's raining really, really, really heavily. And it just started within those last couple of laps of the race. But it looks absolutely dreadful out there. And good thing the race did actually get going when it did. Had the race been run under these conditions, we probably would have just been red flagged. Well, Van Toff wins again, his 3rd of the weekend. Celebrates with his crew and friends in the MP Motorsport. And Van Toff now with 336 points. Ogard's 7th place brings him up to 196. Pepe Marti coming home 3rd. Solid podium position. Puts him on 163. Bordas, 2nd place. Puts him on 152. Matsia, no points, 19th. Ryabov, no points, he didn't finish. Rick Cohn, 5th place in this race, gives him 10. He is now on 95 points. And he jumps Ryabov back into 6th in the standings. Arkanchelski, no points. Kelstrup, no points, he finished 11th. And Noah Dengball came home 8th. That gives him 4 points, and he jumps ahead of Kelstrup in the standings. And it is properly sodden on the track now. And really, I don't think we're going to see much running of anything else today at Jerez. Such as the gloominess, the mist. And the camera focusing on the podium is struggling to stand up straight. The wind is coming in extremely heavily now as well. And I believe that should also give Emily De Hughes the lead in the women's trophy in this race ahead of Lola Lovenfoss. There'll be a separate podium for that in the celebrations coming up shortly. And I can only imagine the drivers everyone is just ducking for cover at the moment. Such is the horrible conditions. It really has turned in Jerez in the last few moments. Yep. Okay. And we'll hear in a moment from the race winner, Delano Van Toff, in the paddock.
Triplete esta temporada, novena victoria en esta temporada 2021 de la Fórmula 4 española. Delano Van Toff, congratulations. What a tricky race today.
Yeah, true. Of course, it started off being a bit wet and dry at the same time, so we thought it might dry up for the end of the race, but yeah, luckily it didn't, and we chose the right strategy.
You're now the championship. You already won the championship. Did you risk more than in other races today?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had less to think about, but even in the races where I was still in the championship, I was risking a lot, so I wouldn't say I took a lot more risk than normal.
Thank you very much, Dilano. Dilano Van Hoff, el campeón de la Fórmula 4 española en esta temporada 2021. 9 victorias lleva el piloto holandés de MP Motorsport esta temporada.
Fantastic job by Dilano Van Hoff. Only 3 more races now for the young Dutchman, 17 years old. 3 more races in this championship. And that is in Barcelona in 6 weeks' time at the Circuit de Catalunya. And probably happy deep down that rain, as we see it now, came just as the checkered flag was being waved. I really can't imagine that this race would have actually been able to run under these conditions had it been a little bit delayed further. And we're just waiting for the podium celebrations. As drivers sorting themselves out, getting a drink of water, getting weighed. The usual Parc Fermé procedures following a race. Van Hoff, by the way, as one might imagine, took the rookie trophy quite a while ago. He took the trophy before, the rookie trophy, quite a bit before he won the main title stand. As we see the highlights now, it was a slow start by Van Hoff, but a brilliant start by Bornas, third on the grid. Jumps straight ahead of Marty into second place. Was side by side with Van Hoff early on and pressed his Dutch rival hard. But it was Van Hoff who made a mistake coming down into the Senate chicane there, allowed Bornas through and allowed Marty through as well. Came out just ahead of Oliveira in fourth place. But then the race was neutralised somewhat when Miran Pingasov went off at the same corner. We quite a long time on a safety car waiting for that to be cleared. We also had an off for one of the T.O. Martin Motorsport entries. That was Jorge Campos. That was the incident actually at the rear of the grid between Lola Lovenfoss and Emily de Hughes. But it was Van Hoff made the move work in turn 6 after pressurising Bornas for several laps to take the lead, and then streaked ahead from his rival at Formula de Campaños to take a race win, his 9th of the season. He'll be hoping to hit double figures in Barcelona. But 2 poles for Van Hoff, 3 wins, 2 fastest laps. It's you know, it's very, very, very difficult to get any better than that. The only blot on his weekend, as it were, is Vryabov got the fastest lap in race 2. But considering the gap he has over the rest of the field, I doubt that matters to him too much. And the drivers now coming onto the podium. And the first driver out there will be Pepe Martí. Eventually. And second place coming out, the Formula de Campaños driver, Enric Bordas. And now the race winner for the 3rd time this weekend. 9th time this season, Dilano Van Hoff for MP Motorsport. And a representative from MP Motorsport as well. Van 't Hoff close to faultless this weekend. And for him to celebrate the Dutch national anthem. Really to give an indication of just how much Van 't Hoff had over some of his drivers in the field. Some of the drivers in the midfield were 4 seconds a lap slower than Van 't Hoff in those final laps as the track was beginning to dry out and the tyres were beginning to wear and age and fall to bits. And considering how much time he spent behind Bottas, considering he did actually go off circuit at the Senna S, he kept his tyres in remarkably good condition to continue on and to win the race. At 2.6 seconds ahead of Bottas. And drivers and MP Motorsport representative come together to have the photos, the post-race photos taken. And the podium clears and Van 't Hoff will walk off and then walk back on in a moment's time to take the rookie trophy. And with this, the 2021 Spanish Formula 4 Championship is nearly at a close. We've one race weekend left in Barcelona over the weekend of November 13th and 14th. And Van 't Hoff, the man on the top step. Will he take 3 more wins? He's taken 9 wins so far this season. Will he make it into double figures? As Emily de Hughes will come out now and take the trophy for the Women's Cup. But until Barcelona over November 13th and 14th, this has been Leo Gorman, and you've been watching Spanish Formula 4. Until then, goodbye and thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you very much. Have a good week. Bye now.